Hello, hello, everyone.
There we
Welcome to
go.
this week's episode of Jab Cross Hook. Myself, Iain MacMillan, read Wallach, Amy Kaplan. No UFC card this weekend, but we still have a lot to talk about. And we are also going to have a special guest, Ozzy Diaz, who just won the middleweight title for LFA. We're going to have him on the show as well. Let's start off where we always start off. I think actually last show that we did this, because this is the first show in a few weeks now that we've done. I think last show I forgot to do it until we were halfway through. What are we all drinking? Let's start with that, and then we're going to get into some latest news stuff. Reed, what are you drinking? Are you back on the beer?
We stopped by the bodega this afternoon. We got a Shiner Bock. I have no idea anything about it. There were like 5 different types in the, obviously first time. There were 5 different ones. I went with the Bock. Let's get in there. Pretty good. Just your typical beer. Again, I feel like I'm just picking average beers. Nothing really jumps off the page, but it's better than it being like a terrible beer. So I'll take it. Probably like around like a 7. Solid beer. This will get
What
me.
What is a terrible beer? Are there any beers you've had in the past that are terrible beers?
I'm not an IPA guy, so I guess those don't really hit the same way. But if you're just going like your basic like Pilsner lager, it's tough for them to just be bad. They're simple. They're easy. I'm not a beer snob either, so I typically
light
don't
beer, like a Coors Light.
I like still have like my college years in me, so I could drink that any day of the week.
Get out of here.
More of a Bud Light
beer
guy.
Snob. You won't catch me drinking light beer. Amy, what are you drinking?
Okay, well, I have a story.
Oh,
I'm drinking sangria because I couldn't get this bottle open because I can't find my bottle opener. But the story is about this bottle of wine. I sort of have a crash pad here at my place in Vegas for all the media when they come through for fights. And I had a media guy staying with me. He went out partying, came back in the morning, came back with this bottle of wine. He has no idea where he got this wine from, how he got it. He was that drunk. And so it's just been here, and I was going to try it, but I don't know if you can see. It's too bright.
A little bit of a reflection.
Yeah. It's some sort of red wine. So I just thought that was fun and I would try it, but I can't get it open. So next time.
Can you reveal who the member of the media was, or no? Is that a secret?
It was Drake Riggs. He's gonna kill me, but that's okay. He was so drunk. He just was like, I got this bottle of wine. I don't know how, I don't know where. He has some theories. I don't know. He just came home with wine. So
it's a great gift, though. Great, for letting him crash there.
Yeah, it's fun. We've got a lot of people that come through, sleep on the couch. We've got an air mattress. The cats will sleep on you. It's fun.
And what about you?
So I'm still trying to stay off the beer. I'm trying to, beer's not good when you're trying to lose weight. So I'm back on vodka, but my issue is that I've been having a super packed day. Actually, the hour right before I jumped onto this live stream, I was on a golf live stream. Talk about like complete opposite sports, by the way. Talk golf for the last hour. Now it's time to talk UFC. But I didn't have time to go get any LaCroix, which I usually drink with it. So this is just like plain water. And I've never had just like plain water with vodka before, and it's disgusting. Like I need the carbonation.
That's a fat glass too. Good thing there's no
water with vodka, like no carbonation. Ugh. I'm gonna try not to do that ever again.
Yeah, don't do that.
Josh Hill just commented. Ian's been drinking straight vodka since the Matt Ryan trade. It's true. Ever since that happened, I've just been on the Tito's, drinking my pain away. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into some latest news. One thing that actually has kind of fallen by the wayside since it's kind of happened, or at least on my timeline with everything that's happened since, but obviously a lot more relevant for UFC, is Covington Masvidal. I don't even know, Amy, maybe you have more updates since the last update I got. But obviously, Jorge Masvidal came to a restaurant that Colby Covington was at, sucker punched him twice, broke a tooth or something. Covington, I believe, pressed charges. That's the last I heard. Is Masvidal, is he arrested? Is he in jail? What's the update on that?
Well, he's been arrested. We've got that mugshot. He looks like a straight up gangster in the best way. Well, it's going to come up someday. But he has been arrested. He's out on bail. His first tweet was "What's open right now," which I think is freaking great. Great, because it was probably in the middle of the night and he was hungry. And I just think it's funny. He's not taking it super serious. Which, I hate to condone violence because I don't, obviously, but I mean, it's what they do for a living. And if anybody deserves to be smacked around a little bit, it's Colby Covington. It does sound like he's facing some pretty tough charges, but I don't anticipate them sticking. I think that if anything, it'll get reduced to like community service or something. But yeah, that's
my only thing is, like, didn't he have his chance in like the ring, like in the octagon, to like go and like beat him up? Like now you have to go to a restaurant and like, you know, go after him. I don't know. I just feel like there's like some sort of like dichotomy there where like, I don't know, he got his ass kicked in the octagon. Now he has to go and like kind of, you know, square up at a restaurant.
Streets, man, it's different.
No, I know it's different. Like maybe that's what he's looking for, but I don't know. I feel like it doesn't add up for me. I don't know. Kind of a bad look for Masvidal, but I guess that is like that's his look, right? That he doesn't care and he'll just do it wherever. But that doesn't change the fact that Covington just worked him for all 5 rounds. So I don't know. Kind of comes off as like a sore loser vibe, even though like I would never obviously say that to Masvidal.
Yeah, I think you're right about it. Definitely comes off a little bit sore loser, for sure. And I think it's sort of like the way I look at it is like Colby and Jorge met on Colby's grounds, which is, I mean, both of them, I guess, the stage. But now he's like, now we're going to meet on my grounds. My grounds is the street. There's no rules. And yeah, it's not quite the same because Colby didn't know it was coming. So that's the major difference in my opinion. But I don't know. Like, I feel like it fits for him. It fits for
fair. That's fair. Get arrested. Totally on his turn. As Cody Williams chimes in, I've got the 6th round, 10-8 Masvidal as he breaks his tooth. I'll give him that. So he's only down what now? What was that? 50, 40, 58, 47 on the cards or something now? Whatever it is.
My observation from the whole thing was like, I kind of find it funny because Masvidal did this to Leon Edwards, the backstage of a UFC event. Sucker punched him twice, called it 2-piece and a soda. I believe that's what it was. And everyone laughed and like it's been like a meme ever since. Like that was one of like Masvidal's kind of introduction to kind of the public eye. Obviously he's been around forever. UFC fans have known him forever, but that was kind of one of his first like introductory things to the public and everyone loved it. But he does the same thing to Covington. And now a lot of people are like, oh, like you can't do that. Like he belongs in jail. It's like he did this however many years ago and people loved it. It's the same thing. This is just what he does.
Do you think it's because like he's coming off of a loss, like the timing and the optics of it, like where now he's more of like a known name, maybe on like the decline, like that's why people are kind of like looking at it differently than when he was more of like a exciting, eccentric, like younger fighter? Do you think that's what it maybe is?
I think the difference is that it was in public as opposed to at a UFC event.
Hunting him down, making it kind of sneaky, wearing a hood, and he had a mask on, and we all know that he's not a mask guy. So like he was trying to hide and be sneaky and scary. So I think that's one thing that people are like about. So
DG number 9 says, what about Governor DeSantis appearing with Street Judas? And then he said, what world are we living in? I don't even know. I'm Canadian and I don't know anything about politics. So I don't even know who that is. I'm guessing Street Judas is Masvidal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he's talking about the governor of Florida, but I'm not sure what the reference there is. So I might have missed something.
I'm not a politics guy. I'm Canadian. I plead ignorance. We do have something else to talk about. Maybe we can even I think our guest is waiting. Let's bring in our guest actually. And then we're actually going to get his thoughts on this as well. So as I mentioned at the top of the show, we have Ozzy Diaz joining us. He's coming off a first-round knockout at LFA 127, the middleweight champion. Congratulations, man. How you doing?
Thank you, brother. I'm doing good, man. How's it going?
Going well. The reason why we are always going to talk about your fights, but to talk about your future and all that stuff. But I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Kind of ties into the Covington Masvidal thing. It's the talk of the town right now. Will Smith just went on stage and slapped Chris Rock. What was your immediate reaction to that? As a mixed martial artist, did Chris Rock deserve that?
To tell you the truth, I haven't even really watched the video. I've seen like the highlights, but I don't know the reasons behind it. I didn't hear anything. I just saw, I was like, oh, well, Will Smith smacked Chris Rock, but that was it. I haven't paid too much attention to it, you know?
You must not live on the internet like I do, because that's all I've seen on the internet for the past 3 days. And it's times like these where I'm like, maybe I shouldn't live on the internet as much as I do. It's the only thing I've seen, and it's the only thing that people are talking about. People put out fake odds for it. Who would win in the theoretical fight between the two? I think obviously Will Smith. He's way bigger than Chris Rock, but Ozzy, if you ever see the clip, Chris Rock ate it. He has a chin. Chris Rock officially has a chin. For a small comedian that probably hasn't been in too many fights, he took that slap like a champ. That was probably the most impressive part.
Right.
It was loud, too. Like, really loud. It was a Stockton slap, in my opinion.
It was kind of a Stockton slap, a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little bit disrespectful. But yeah, Ozzy coming off a big knockout win. Amy, I believe we have a video highlight of this, do we?
Yeah, I was just talking. I hope we can play it. So let's see if we can get it to play. Yeah, hey, we lost Reed.
Reed said he has internet issues. He'll hop on here once he figures out his internet.
So I want to know, like, what were your emotions like in that moment? Because I feel like watching it, I got emotional. I'm sure everybody in the crowd got emotional. There's been pictures of that moment. Can you kind of tell us of like what you were going through your mind and why you chose to go right to your coaches and hug them?
It's funny. Everything that happened in this fight, I literally visualized it. You know what I mean? And everything is happening so fast, and then like I get on the cage, and then I just see Coach Chad, Coach Josh, and I'm just like, man, these guys have seen me like from the beginning stages of my career, and like we've shared so much moments in the gym, and like this victory belonged to them, not just me, but they play a big part in my camp and my life. So it's just something I want to share with them, and I just kind of had to do it, man. I just wanted to hug them. It's like I can finally breathe. That's just what I felt, and it was awesome just hugging them, having them in my corner. It feels amazing.
Yeah, and I think too, like, MMA fans obviously know who both of those guys are, Chad George and Josh Barnett, two legends in their own way. What was it like having them in your corner? I mean, they're like, they're not that huge, figure for you because you see them every day, but we look at it and we go, oh my God. So what's it like being around them? What kind of advice have they given you?
Man, they're very inspiring. The details they break down when it comes to like opponents, to like the smallest detail, is like having them is like, it's crazy, man. It's just like I want to say we have cheat codes, you know what I mean? Like, it's not even fair when we fight other people. Having them too and then especially together, wow, you know what I mean? Like having Josh right before the fight, like he's been in so many wars against legends, so like his experience is beyond anything. And then Chad, he's just so inspiring, and he knows how to use his words, to get us to check in right at that moment. It feels good. I love having them in my corner.
I am curious about something really quick. That watching that clip kind of reminded me of something that I remember Chael Sonnen said a number of years ago, and it always stuck with me. And it's after you win a big fight, it's not necessarily happiness that you feel; it's relief more than anything else. Is that something you feel? Obviously, I've never fought in a cage, so I don't know what it's like. Is it kind of a feeling of relief when you win a big fight like that?
Yes, no, I completely agree with that. Like, you are happy, but like I said earlier, it's almost like you could finally breathe. You know what I mean? Like
right.
It's done, and yeah, it is like a big relief. Like the fact that it's over. Yeah, I do agree with that a lot, actually.
And how is it when you had two teammates on the card before you? They both won. Are you watching their fights? Are you able to kind of like think about that, or do you have to kind of be in your own zone and not pay attention? And how much does that affect you, win or lose, their outcomes?
Yeah, it's I want to say like weeks before it hits me, like, damn, I have two teammates on, I'm already nervous for them, and I gotta control my emotions. But you know what? That day, I was the most relaxed I've ever been. I was in the back, I was napping. I was so relaxed that I was having trouble staying awake in the back. You know what I mean? I was like, I would just come in and out of my naps, and I'm like, man, I should probably get up and start moving. But then it wasn't time to get up and start moving. So I just kept going in and out of my naps. And then I was watching Lou and Chase warm up, and I was like, oh yeah, they got this. Like, I shouldn't even be worried about it. It was something special, back there. It was cool. This is the most relaxed I've ever been in my fight. And yeah, man, I was just napping.
Reed, you're muted.
Oh. Reed's all kinds of techie issues today.
Nope.
Yeah.
Got to figure out your microphone, Reed. I'll ask a question while he figures that out. Obviously, it was announced by the LFA president. You got a Dana White Contender Series contract coming up. What are your thoughts on taking that path to the UFC instead of more of a direct signing?
It is what it is. Like, no matter what, I did another interview, and like I said, it's just another fight. I am aware of the stage of the fight, of where it's going to be, but this fight could have been in an alley, and it doesn't matter. I'm going to approach it the same way. It's another hard fight. I'm going to be well prepared, well trained, and, it's on. It's just go time now,
Do you prefer that kind of over, like, because obviously Dana Contender Series, you're going to know when you're fighting and you're going to know who, whereas like if it was a UFC fight, they might pull you in 3 or 4 days before. Some people like those short notice fights because then they don't have to spend forever waiting for it. Do you prefer the kind of like full camp, or do you prefer a short notice?
I love a camp. I love knowing the date, so it gives you like X amount of time to get ready. But if a short notice fight happens, yeah, like I'll be ready. Like it's kind of like you don't really have time to think, so it also kind of works out as well. And yeah, I saw my coach Chad. He's like, hey, let's just keep our weight low, try our best to keep it as low as possible, because you never know,
Do you have Reed, your microphone's still not working. It's probably not an internet thing. It's probably a microphone thing. Do you have
running head for this episode?
Do you have a date or an opponent set for a Dana White Contender Series yet?
No, they told me end of July or August, so I'm just still waiting. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's kind of like they just gave me that time frame, and we'll wait on that.
Do you have somebody you'd prefer to fight?
No, not at all.
Bigger.
Yeah, no, not at all. I really don't care who I fight. I'm gonna give my best version of myself that day. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait.
And I know
obviously, I believe what is it? 8 pro fights you have so far?
Yes, 8 pro fights.
How do you? I mean, if it's July, August, you have a lot of time to obviously work between now and then. Do you feel like what aspect of your game do you feel like you need to focus on more between now and then, or do you think you just need to kind of overall sharpen your skills between now and then?
I just gotta continue doing what I'm doing. I believe, like, since it is so far, I can bring down the intensity a bit. But yeah, I can really work on my technique and all aspects of my game. There's a lot of holes everywhere, and I know I can fix them. So it gives me enough time to work on them, improve, and then when the time is to start camp, I'll be ready for that. But yeah, right now, pretty much about fixing up my skills a little bit. Staying in shape and all that stuff.
What do you think is your biggest strength?
I feel like I'm pretty strong everywhere, but as of lately, as you can see, is these bad boys right here. These bad boys.
So you mentioned that you had visualized this last fight. Are you starting to visualize that Contender Series fight? And like, if you are, what are you seeing? Or can you not say? Is that like a trade secret?
I'm not, like I said, it's still far out, so I haven't really like put too much energy into it. But no, I haven't really visualized it yet. I'm still, just kind of taking this week, working out, training a little bit, and I believe next week is when I'll start really focusing in and checking in on that and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel good.
Do you train as often when you're in between fights and you don't have one scheduled, and then crank it up when you're in camp? Or is it kind of a consistent, you're training all day, every day, no matter what time of year it is?
Yeah, I train all the time. Like this week, I haven't like sparred or hard grapple, but I've been in the gym. You know, I've been exercising, been with the team. You know, I love being there in that environment. So today I was helping out, and then towards the end we did conditioning. I jumped in with the conditioning. So yeah, I'm just always in there, and I want to be a part of the squad that are getting ready for their fight. So yeah, it's hard to stay out of the gym because, hey man, as you know, our gym is always have fights every weekend, so we all need each other, you know. So yeah, I'm always in the gym no matter what. And then, like you said, I crank it up when it's time to crank it up.
Now, we are usually more of a betting show, to be honest, Ozzy. There's no UFC card this weekend, so we have nothing to bet on. I'm curious, have you ever dabbled in the world of betting on UFC?
I did bet. You know, I bet on my boy Victor Henry. Shout out to Victor Henry, his UFC debut, and that was an easy bet for me. Like, unless you train with us, you know who Victor Henry is. So that was actually a super easy bet. And it was fun. And before that, I didn't bet. It was the last time I bet was the Ronda Rousey Holly Holm fight. So
were you on Holly Holm?
Yeah, I was like, which side of that were you?
Yeah, I was on Holly Holm side. Yeah, it was good. Awesome. It was a good one.
one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. Good call on that one. I bring it up because usually we do like a bet draft, and we've had fighters on in the past, and every single time that we do it, they beat us in picking. So myself and Reed, who maybe he'll come back sometime this show, maybe he won't. We're supposed to be sports bettors, sports betting guys, and then fighters come on the show and then do a better job of picking fights. So we'll have to have you on again sometime in the future when there's a UFC event. Yeah, you're back, Reed.
Okay. Back. Well, I missed most of the interview, so I hope I hope my question hasn't been asked, Ozzy. But what I was going to ask you was,
I think it has.
It has. Okay, so then forget everything. Just completely. I'm just happy to be here. I'll just hop on for the ride.
But you just came in. He bet on Holly Holm for the Ronda Rousey fight. Isn't that crazy?
Sharpest guy in the room. Are you kidding me? That was what she was like. She had to have been a huge underdog. I don't even remember the number. This was so many years ago.
Yeah, right? I think she was like 5-1-ish. But yeah, that's what I was saying. We're gonna have to have him on again when we do another draft because UFC fighters are undefeated against us. So
that should be the new hook to our show. Can we beat the UFC fighters at their own sport?
Yeah. So far, we have not.
That's a good one.
A thought just occurred to me because, obviously, I was there for your fight, and there were so many people. It was loud. It was pandemonium. I hadn't been in a situation like that in a really long time because of COVID, obviously. So you're in that zone. You're used to that now, and then you're going to come over to the UFC, which is arguably bigger and better, and then it's going to be smaller and quieter. Is that something you've thought about? Is that are you concerned about how you might react to that, or have you fought like that? I'm not sure if you fought like that during the pandemic.
Yeah, I did fight in the pandemic. I actually like the no crowd. You know what I mean? It's like I can already hear Chad, and then with no crowd, I could hear him even more. But I loved having my people there. It was definitely fun. But I think I could do a good job at no matter what's zoning out. It was a lot of people, and I did not hear one person. I literally just heard Coach Josh and Coach Chad the whole time.
It's awesome.
That's cool.
Obviously, you're still you're young in your MMA career. I assume you've been watching it for at least a little while. Are there any fighters that you looked up to, or maybe your favorite fighters when you were fighting at the amateur ranks? Maybe a retired guy, or is there any former UFC fighters you really look up to?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, the person that caught my attention a lot was Rich Franklin. I liked his style. He looked cool. He reminded me of Jim Carrey. I was like, I like Rich Franklin. And then Junior Dos Santos came in, and I started watching a lot of him. So that's what kind of made me transition a lot to really train a lot of boxing because of Junior Dos Santos, And of course, GSP, the legend. It was so fun to watch.
As a fellow Canadian, I like your GSP pick. Canadian legend, of course. Some would say he's the greatest Canadian athlete of all time.
I love how much you talk
Probably.
about Canada, but the flag is not a Canadian flag, right?
I need to change that to a Canadian flag. It doesn't make any sense. Amy, Reed, unless you two have any further questions.
Unfortunately, I missed most of the interview. So Ozzy, next time you're on, I owe you, like, I'm going to direct that interview. That one's on me. I owe you several questions, but again, congratulations on the title.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Congratulations, Ozzy. We are anxiously awaiting your Dana White Contender Series fight. Best of luck with your training. Best of luck this summer. And we'll have to have you on again sometime soon.
Sounds good, man. It'll be an honor to have you.
Bye. Thank you.
See you later, Ozzy.
Bye.
Oh, I love Ozzy.
He's great. Sucks I missed most of the interview. But he's great.
I stole your questions.
No, it seems so. I missed it, but he does not know who to recap for me, as someone just jumping into the stream. Yeah. He does not know his Dana White Contender Series opponent yet.
He's been told it's going to be in like July or August, but he hasn't been given an exact date or an opponent yet.
Okay, cool. And there are typically betting lines on that, so we obviously have to bet on Ozzy. Hopefully, we got a nice price there.
Yes,
but absolutely. I've watched this past fight. I watched a few of the highlights. This guy, he throws heat. He's going to be if he gets into the UFC and he breaks through, he's going to be a problem. So pulling for Ozzy, of course.
Of course, official friend of the show.
Yeah, friend of the program, Ozzy.
I can't wait for the next friend of the show to fight. I don't think we've had anyone fight after they've come on the show.
I don't think so.
Interesting.
I'm like thinking now. No, I don't. Yeah, that's cool. What if two of them fought each other? Then who would we root for?
I don't think we've interviewed anyone who's in the same weight class yet. Thankfully,
well, we will eventually.
Jeff Molina, Jalen Turner, they're not the same. Vanessa. Eric and Jalen, they could fight, right? They're both.
They won't. They won't.
Because
Yeah, they won't.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Okay. Let's hope we never get put in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what we'll do.
Picking our violent children, basically.
Yeah.
I mentioned it during the interview. You two UFC fighters are crushing us.
Yeah,
they've won every. I don't think we've done a show since last time. Who was it? Was it Jalen? Was the last guest, I believe?
Yeah, and I think he crushed it too.
Yeah,
crushed us.
Yeah,
I still have not won a draft.
I think he went 3-0.
I think people should just watch this show just for what the fighters say, and then be like, whatever they say, do the opposite.
But it's interesting because they have that inside information that we don't. Ozzy was just talking about he bet on one of his teammates because he knew he had a great camp. Like that's we listen to stuff on Fight Week and interviews, and Amy, you're obviously there on the ground, but it's no one's ever going to say they have a bad camp. You don't really know unless you're in the camp with them how they're looking and how they're going to perform.
That's true. And even if you know your guy had a great camp, you don't know that the other guy didn't have a greater camp. So even then, you're still like,
what's the level of greatness of the camp?
Yeah.
Right.
No, people should come on and listen to these UFC fighters. They know exactly what they're talking about. And unlike other sports, you're able to talk about betting. So why not take advantage of what these fighters are saying? I remember Jeff Molina came on and he said next week, David Onama, he's a great bet. Next week, he was my first pick the following week because I listened to Jeff Molina. Jeff Molina was right. Jeff Molina knows what he's talking about. Knows a lot more than me. He's a pro fighter.
Do you guys have any thoughts on we're going to kind of backtrack here because I brought on Ozzy to for his opinions. Any additional thoughts on Will Smith and Chris Rock?
I just think honestly people are taking it way too serious. Like I think people are trying to find meaning behind it and make it a message, and it's I saw somebody saying I watched Rome burn to the ground. Like, come on. It's one rich guy smacking another rich guy. No one was hurt.
Exactly.
No one was arrested. It was funny. Yeah, it wasn't again, I don't condone violence, but he deserved it for what he said. I mean, people can't just go around and say whatever they want without consequences. But again, people can't go around punching people without consequences.
Yeah, it's like a two wrongs don't make a right type of thing.
Yeah.
Bad joke, but you can't go up on stage in front of all those people and smack a guy in the face. I feel like. But I don't get the people who say it's fake. I know we were talking about this before we jumped on, but very clearly real. Like that's not
very clearly.
If it was fake, that is like the ultimate. Like you need to be put on WWE. That is like ultimate sell job from all parties involved.
I saw somebody say that the Oscars was advertising a drug for people that have alopecia, which is what the joke kind of stems from. And they were like, that's why they did it. And I'm like, that is the biggest stretch I've ever. Yeah, like it's not that deep. It's just a snack. Let's move on. You know.
But yeah, I agree with what you said, Amy. It was like the first like 2 hours afterwards were hilarious because everyone was just making jokes and memes about it. But then like by the next morning, then everyone started coming out with like serious takes about it. It's like, let's not look into this any deeper than what it needs to be.
Exactly. Like it's use it as like entertainment and like the humor side of it. Like there's not like some deep rooted like philosophical take to make from this. Like
but do you both agree if these two did ever fight in like a celebrity boxing match, Will Smith would win? Like I don't even think they're the same weight class.
Will Smith by decision.
He technically has experience because he played Ali, Muhammad Ali in that movie. Right. So like he has a little bit of experience. At least he's got to have learned something from that movie.
Absolutely. I like the value on by decision. I think Chris Rock can hang in there for a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He barely moved to an extent. Like when I watched it live, because I happened to be watching it live because I was with my girlfriend. He barely moved to the extent I thought it was originally fake. Like when I watched it live the first time too.
Yeah,
because he barely moved. I didn't even think he hit him. I thought he like faked in front of him and like slapped his chest for the noise.
I really like that you prefaced saying that you were with your girlfriend. That's the only reason.
Congrats to you. Congrats.
Like, no.
Shout out
to like, the caption came up. Ian has a girlfriend. Wanted to watch it, so,
no, there is no event I hate more than the Oscars. I'm very anti-celebrity, anti-actor, and the Oscars are the worst.
That's what it is.
Types of people.
I love the Oscars.
They love themselves so much. It's like, listen, you pretend to be someone else in front of a camera, like you aren't that special. But that's a whole nother rant. But, I think that was the first time I've ever actually watched the Oscars live, and I'm very glad I did.
Yeah, at least you got some entertainment out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, for the first time ever, actors weren't being fake and phony. For the first time ever, something real happened. Yeah. I'm all in. Chael Sonnen. Assault charges. Says he took sleep. This is a very weird story. I don't know how much you two have looked into it. As a personal big-time Chael Sonnen fan, one of my favorite athletes of all time, it's weird because the story seems to have changed a couple times, and now the latest thing is saying that he might have been on Ambien and he doesn't remember anything, which is strange to me.
I'm not as well.
Do you fight people on Ambien?
Yeah, let me give you Cliff Notes. I think I can give Cliff Notes, okay? So the original story was Chael Sonnen's arrest, or I don't even think he was arrested. I think he was just charged with some assault of a lot of people. And then Brendan Schaub came out and said, well, he was defending his wife from these people were harassing his wife. And so everybody kind of went like, oh, okay, understandable. Then those charges were dropped, but there was a caveat that different charges could be filed. I don't know why or how that works, but that's what happened. Then those charges were filed, and then we're realizing that there was at least one woman that he struck, allegedly, in this group of people. And then now he's saying, or I guess according to the police report, he said, I don't remember this. I took a bunch of sleeping pills. My wife was asleep. So that story that Brendan Schaub said couldn't be true if that's what Chael said on the police report. And now, as of today, just a few hours ago, those charges, the second set of charges, were dropped, but with the same caveat that, hey, these first charges we placed are the ones we do want, so we're going to recharge him with those. So it's a weird situation.
My question is, where's the footage? Because I think it happened in a Las Vegas hotel, and there has to be footage everywhere. So footage must exist.
Yeah, there's got to be footage.
I don't know.
We don't have
I got nothing on this one.
I mean, we don't have anything that obviously we don't want to comment too much until we know anything definitive. But it has not been a few good weeks for UFC fighters being arrested and charged because I don't want to turn this whole show into. I don't want to turn this whole show into let's talk about all the UFC fighters have been arrested. Conor McGregor arrested yet again. What's this? His 18th arrest?
Oh my God, lost count.
What was he doing? Speeding?
Speeding, reckless driving, I think was the official charge. And then he had his car impounded. But there's one thing that I think people are kind of sleeping on. There was the rape allegations from a while back. And those, I believe, he was never charged for that. But a civil case in that same exact, from that woman and I guess her mother as well, that is ongoing right now. And he was set to appear in court this month.
And now he's got this also. So like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Ireland,
did he show up in court, or there just hasn't been in, like,
there just hasn't been a report. The last update was that the somebody requested the footage from the hotel where this had allegedly happened, and that was granted. So that was the last, I guess that was the thing that happened this month. I doubt he showed up, but I think nobody's really talking about that. And I think part of it is because in Ireland, they don't release that kind of information like they do here. Any kind of sexual assault, rape, that kind of stuff, they don't release that information. If that information does get released, it's usually through a police officer who's like not supposed to be telling somebody, but they do. And they do. So you have to be really careful with the information that's coming out, but that is happening or was happening this month as well. And I feel like that maybe that car thing may have been a way to kind of, I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but like there definitely is a lot going on with Conor right now. None of it seems good.
Yeah.
Shocking.
I miss the old I've never seen someone turn from such a likable figure to such a hateable figure in just like a span of a few years when he was coming up. And that's why people are still kind of Conor McGregor fans despite he's doing all this. But this is a guy who like was on welfare, and then he started fighting in the UFC, and all of like his messages and when he was talking on the mic, it was all unity. It was all like, we're all in this together. Like, it was a very like pro Ireland, like I'm the underdog, I'm the little guy. And then he goes on to win belts, and then he just turns into the most obnoxious person possible. It's like, this is not what he was like when he was coming up, and now he's breaking the law. He's doing a lot of questionable things. It sucks because I think like Conor McGregor's like first like 5 fights in the UFC, that stretch was like one of the greatest like eras in UFC history.
When he knocked out Jose Aldo and stuff, like that was insane.
13 seconds.
And
when he beat Chad Mendes, that was almost more impressive because he's supposed to fight Jose Aldo, a completely different style, and then it gets rescheduled for Chad Mendes like the week of. And then there was like that famous story where like his coach told him and he was napping. He opened one eye and said, they're all the same, and then went back to sleep and then beat Chad Mendes for the interim title. Like, that was one of the greatest runs in UFC history. And now he's just like, you can't like him anymore. I can't cheer for him.
Well, wait, I do want to say one thing in defense of Conor, and I can't believe I'm saying in defense of Conor on anything, but a story, I wrote a story recently about how he was in the process of building this, like, I don't know if it's like a neighborhood or like there's the arrested, but he was building like a neighborhood for low income housing, but he was making it like nice. Like he was making their restaurants and shops and things there so that, you always hear about these like low income housing are in bad neighborhoods and bad unsafe areas. He's making something really nice, and he's doing that to help the people of Ireland. So I think that there are some good things about him, and they don't get talked about as much as obviously the bad things, because the bad things are obviously really bad.
Yep.
But there are moments where he does kind of redeem himself. And I think that's why people, especially Irish people, are still kind of like on his side, because he is still kind of keeping to his roots with the welfare and the helping the people. So
yeah, and my only thing on McGregor is if he keeps up, at least if we're just talking UFC, he's gonna fade out of the public eye very quickly. He's made his fortune, but you see, when you lose, no one cares about you anymore. You just slowly just fade out of the public eye. So I don't know. I actually, we're going to talk about like future champions, and I did make a note to talk about Conor for the lightweight championship. That was on one of my little bullets here on my handy dandy notebook here.
You just revealed a secret.
Well, I'm just saying that I don't know if he's going to be the champ, but I do think that he is still Conor McGregor, and he is probably still closer to the front than he should be. But we'll save that for a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just 2 minutes. One last thing that I wanted to bring up before that, because this kind of relates to Conor McGregor as well, because I think his comeback fight would make the most sense against Nate Diaz. But Nate Diaz has apparently asked for his UFC release. I believe we have tweets that we can show of his. Does he be crying because they get her off from the UFC? I can't pay out this bitch. I would
Yeah, I
like
don't
to
know
be, I like the request to be
hearing
released
you,
from.
read them out.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Nate Diaz wants to fight. Give him McGregor. I mean, I don't know if McGregor's healthy enough, and obviously, who knows if he can because of his legal issues. But I think that fight would make a lot of sense. Make the trilogy. Make it happen.
I mean, it makes so much sense, and I don't understand why they're keeping Nate just on the sidelines. He's a money fight. Anybody he fights is a money fight.
Anyone.
Yeah, anyone. So there's got to be something going on. Is Nate asking for an exorbitant amount of money? I don't see him being that kind of guy. I don't think that's it. What's going on? Are they holding out for when McGregor is ready? Maybe.
Is there someone else though on that would be on his radar? I mean, he lost to Masvidal already. It's not like he's
rematch,
really,
I guess.
Who?
Masvidal rematch, maybe.
Yeah, it's not like he's going for a belt. Like he's not going to fight Usman, right? Like,
I feel like he'll fight anyone, to be honest. Like he's just that kind of guy. He just wants to fight. He wants to make some money.
So Amy, who would you say you said Conor makes a lot of sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to finish the show on this. We're going to really quickly pick a fight of the year so far in 2022, since this is a natural break. This is kind of what the quarter part of the year, I suppose. Yeah. So fight of the year so far in 2022, and then we're going to go through each weight class, and we're going to predict who the champion will be at the end of the year. So fight of the year so far. Amy, go ahead. I'll give you honors.
Okay, so I see every fight live. They all kind of start to run together for me. But I'm sure I'm missing some great fights, but the one that really sticks out to me in my memory is Calvin Kattar and Giga Chikadze.
Great fight.
One of the first fights of the year, I think, and it was just an incredible fight. It was in the UFC Apex. It felt like a really big fight in there. The crowd was crazy for him. I don't know. I just like that one really sticks out to me. That's what I would pick so far.
Reed?
Yeah, great fight. For me, it was Gaethje Chandler. I don't remember the UFC. It was it might have technically been in 2021, but yeah, I feel like it still could count though. It was I think it was November.
What do you mean? No, it literally can't count. If it's in 2021, it literally can't count.
To me, it's still.
I would have picked it.
Okay, fine. Then I want to come back. But Gaethje Chandler to me, I feel like needs to be mentioned in any sort of fight of the year or fight of the past calendar year due to just absolute violence and carnage the entire time. But I guess as I pull up some of my backup options, Ian, you could go.
I'm going to go a fight that we are going to see for a fourth time, I think. Maybe. Brandon Moreno and Davison Figueiredo. I actually think I tweeted this either during the fight or afterwards that, let's just make the flyweight division just these two guys fighting the next 50 times in a row. No, all three fights have been very good. They're 1-1-1. So this will be the rare fourth fight rubber match, which I don't think we've ever seen in the UFC. And also, I don't think we've almost definitely never seen the same fight 4 times in a row in the UFC. So it's unique. And in most cases, I'd be against it. But I mean, I don't know who else would fight for the flyweight title right now. And like I said, it's 1-1-1. The rare 1-1-1. So let's see what happens in the fourth fight. And I think Moreno's changing camps now, isn't he?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'd go Moreno Figueiredo 3 as my fight of the year so far.
Okay.
I got a backup. Tai Tuivasa, Derek Lewis.
Okay. Is this in 2022?
Yeah, that's February.
I know.
I double check my dates now. But no, I mean, in terms of fanfare, everyone was kind of looking forward to that fight on a pay-per-view card. And I don't know. I don't necessarily think Tai Tuivasa is a contender or anything, but in terms of just knockout, I mean, he put Derek Lewis right on the mat. So to me, in terms of action, sure, why not? Fight of the year contender. There's been a few just underwhelming cards from a star power perspective.
But I also think there's been a lot of finishes. A lot of the really exciting moments of this year so far have been finishes, which typically you don't give a fight that finishes the fight of the year. I mean, you can. There's no rule against that, of course. But I think that's kind of where my head goes. My head goes to crazy finishes and So
honorable mention might be Rafael dos Anjos and Renato Moicano. I know it was a beatdown, but then for Moicano to survive all that and then kind of push at the end honorable mention there.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was a good one.
But yeah, I think we're due for some great fights here coming up, especially with the pay-per-view card that we're going to talk about next week. One of my favorite UFC fighters of all time, the Korean Zombie, gets another chance at the title. I can't wait for that. What's that?
Next week's pay-per-view is a loaded like that.
Yes.
It's like we got 2 title fights on there. We have Chimaev obviously making his hype return to the UFC. I mean, these are like some big time fights on here, so I'm really pumped for next week's draft and all that, and to really break down the card.
Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan, the rematch of the worst beat I've ever suffered in sports betting.
Same for me as well. That now Jan's like minus 400 when he was minus 120 or whatever it was. Yeah, that one's six.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing when it happened. But let's get into kind of the final portion here of the stream as we wrap up this bye week in the UFC. Let's predict who will be the champion in each division by the end of the year. We're going to start with the women's divisions, I believe, or the women's weight classes. And then we're going to work our way up from flyweight all the way up to heavyweight, which might get a little bit tricky once we get there. So let's start with the women's strawweight division. The next title fight is booked for UFC 274. Rose Namajunas against Carla Esparza. They did fight. Carla Esparza beat Rose in the tough finale way back in the day, didn't she?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So rematch. Is Rose going to hold? Is Rose going to be the title holder at the end of the year? Any thoughts for the women's strawweight division?
I think Rose has it at the end of the year. Because I don't think she's going to fight again after Carla, and I don't think Carla's going to make it, unfortunately.
That's always the tricky thing with kind of predicting this, is that like you don't know, like especially for these people who have their title fights booked, it's like, are they going to do another one by the end of the year?
They could, but I don't think she will. I think with the women, they don't fight as often.
Yeah, I wrote down Rose. The one dark horse, if they fight again, Marina Rodriguez, I think can hold up against Rose. So that was someone I wrote down. But again, like, scheduling wise, is she going to fight again by the end of the year? I mean, maybe like around like November, October, that makes a little bit of sense, but it's a tight crunch. So I'll say Rose. Yeah.
So this is the rematch of the first ever fight for the first ever UFC Women's Strawweight Championship. It was the Ultimate Fighter finale. Carla Esparza won via submission, rear naked choke in the third round. So I'm gonna go the opposite of you two. I think this is a betting strategy I follow all the time, even though it's a lot later, and Rose has obviously improved quite a bit. I mean, this fight happened in 2014, so we're talking 8 years later. But in rematches, I take the person who won the first time. So I will take Carla Esparza. I think she can get it done with her wrestling. Flyweight. Arguably the greatest pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC right now. I mean, you have to say the greatest pound-for-pound women's fighter in the UFC right now, since Amanda Nunes lost. Valentina Shevchenko. She is scheduled to fight Talia Santos at UFC 275, so that's even later. So I would guess there's probably not going to be another women's flyweight title fight after this one. I haven't seen odds for this fight. I assume Valentina's going to be a massive favorite. Are we all in agreement? Like, then again, I say that, but like, I don't think anybody called Amanda Nunes losing. So
no, I didn't publicly, but I thought in my head that she might. But that doesn't count, I guess.
Do you think Santos has a? Do you think in your head Santos has a chance against Shevchenko?
No,
Valentina's too good.
Yeah.
And maybe she will fight again, because you can't rule out these like 2-minute finishes, because like even Nunes, I still will throw her in this category. Like, she's just both of them are so overwhelming that they could win a fight in 2 minutes. They're just in such a class of their own. I know Nunes coming off the loss, but still, I guess if you want to go before this last fight, she would win in 2 minutes. She could just fight again in 2 months, 3 months, take a little time off and then start another camp. So, but yeah, Shevchenko for sure. Still,
and there's always that big end of the year card where they have like 3 or 4 title fights on there. So yeah, there's definitely going to be somebody here is going to fight.
Yeah,
that scheduled is probably going to fight again. It's just a matter of how quickly that happens.
Update: vodka mixed with plain water still gross. Still gross.
Nothing changed from the beginning.
No. If anything, got warmer, which makes it even worse. Let's actually switch over. We are going to get to the women's bantamweight division. But let's switch over to the men's flyweight division. So this is Deiveson Figueiredo, Brandon Moreno. It's not officially booked. I saw that Deiveson Figueiredo doesn't want to fight Brandon Moreno again because he's accusing Brandon Moreno's trainer of being racist. I don't know if you two saw that story at all.
I did. Yeah.
He was using his trainer was using filters on Instagram, I believe, and one of the filters he used was a monkey, and Deiveson Figueiredo took offense to that. So that fight's not officially booked. Figueiredo wants to fight Kai Kara France. So this one is kind of the first one that might be worth some debate because we don't really know what's going on with this division.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I totally respect that he's upset by that filter because I agree that what I saw what it was when it happened and it was pretty disgusting. But then to say that and then to be like call the guy that he wants to fight a Kiwi something like Kiwi nerd or something like that, like he's doing the same thing to the guy. Like you can't
right.
say it's not okay for one guy and then turn around and do it to the other guy. But I also kind of think a part of me thinks maybe he doesn't want that fight because he's not sure he can win it again, which is why I pick Brandon Moreno to hold the title.
Oh,
and maybe that means that we see something where Figueiredo, you know what I'm trying to say,
Figueiredo,
tries to avoid it and they strip him. Like we haven't talked about that. There's chances of interim titles, there's chances of fighters getting stripped. Like there's all these ways, but I think one way or the other, Brandon's got a belt at the end of the year.
I think
on the flyweight.
I think Figueiredo is champ, whoever he faces. I just think he's a cut above these guys. I was on Figueiredo in the Moreno fight and Kai Kara France. I mean, I will give him credit. He got a nice win against Askarov last week, but I'm not buying it. So
yeah, I don't think he beats Kai Kara France either.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
I don't think Kai Kara.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said the wrong way. I don't think Kai Kara France beats.
Yeah, if Kai Kara France gets the title fight, Figueiredo would be a massive, massive favorite. So I lean towards him holding the belt no matter what. But again, he has bad weight cuts all the time, so he could come into a fight out of shape for sure, or in bad shape, I guess.
I got a curveball I'm going to throw your way. Arguably the greatest UFC flyweight champion of all time makes a return to the UFC. I don't know what his contract situation is like, but Demetrius Johnson.
He just fought, right? Didn't he just fight?
He just fought in a mixed rules Muay Thai / MMA fight. It was 4 3-minute rounds alternating between Muay Thai and MMA with legend Muay Thai fighter Rod Tong. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, but he's a legend in Muay Thai. He stood with them in the first round when it was just Muay Thai, one of the greatest rounds of martial arts ever. Go watch it if you can. But then in the second round, when it turned to MMA, Mighty Mouse just took him down and submitted him. So, which I think most people kind of expected. But shout out to Mighty Mouse for actually in the first round when his Muay Thai actually standing toe-to-toe with him and throwing, because that's a dangerous game, because that Rod Tong is, like I said, arguably, I think one of the greatest Muay Thai artists of all time.
All right. I like that curveball there.
Yeah, I like the curveball too, but I don't see him coming back. I think he's really not there in one. His manager's there in one. I think that's the right place for him too. I don't think he should come back.
Moving on to men's bantamweight, Aljamain Sterling, Petr Yan. That's going to be next weekend. So the winner of that will fight again this year. Are we all on Yan? Is there any argument for Sterling winning that fight?
I think it's going to be Sterling. I have this feeling.
Wow.
And I think my reasoning for it is that Aljamain is not going to let himself go out there and get embarrassed again. I think he has got a lot to prove, and I think he knows that, and I think he's been working really hard. And maybe it's just wishful thinking. I love them both. I actually really like Yan a lot better than Aljamain, but I don't know. I just have this feeling that we're due for something crazy, and I think that's going to be Aljamain. And I kind of see it as like a finish too. Like I don't think it's going to go to decision. So double.
My counter to that is like, yeah, he might not want to get embarrassed again, but sometimes, I mean, if you're outskilled, it's going to happen. But
he got worked last time. I mean,
oh, absolutely. But I also think there was something off about him. I don't think it was he didn't look like the normal Aljamain to me. Like, it didn't look like he was fighting how you would see Aljamain fighting. I think there was something else behind the scenes that maybe we don't know. I think that something maybe got into his head. But yeah, I think I don't know. I give him at the very least. I think he's going to do better this time.
Okay,
for sure.
That's fair. He is a minus. Jan is a minus 475 favorite in that fight. So
yeah, you guys can throw stuff at me when I'm wrong. I'm totally fine with that.
I am a big
crazier things have happened.
Yeah. I'm a big Jan guy. I think he's incredible, like up there pound for pound. So I'm on Jan, whether it's Sterling, whether he gets someone after this. So yeah, I like Jan to be the champ when it's all said and done.
Just looking at the bantamweight rankings here, TJ Dillashaw, I haven't thought about him in forever. Jose Aldo.
He's coming off surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Jose Aldo's already lost to Jan. Corey Sandhagen.
Henry Cejudo
coming back. Sterling, right? I don't think he's fought.
Sandhagen lost to Jan.
All right, let's keep it moving. Women's bantamweight. We are coming up in an hour, so we got to wrap it up. So we're going to go a little bit more rapid fire here. Women's bantamweight, Juliana Pena with a rematch with Amanda Nunes. Can Amanda Nunes reclaim her belt?
Yes.
She has to, right?
I think it was a fluke.
No. I'm going no. When you're done, you're done.
Do you think she's just done?
Maybe she is. I don't know. I'll go contrarian. Why not?
I guess that's what the question is. Is the question, is she done? Is she washed up? Or is the question, did she just have an off night? Off nights happen.
It happens. I will go, like, if the line is going to be wide again and Pena's going to be a big underdog, like I imagine, then I'll bet her again. Like, what if it's like the Ronda Rousey thing, though? Like, it just kind of, like, when the door closes, the door closes.
That'd be ironic, wouldn't it? Come full circle.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
know.
Yeah.
I don't see that. I don't see it. But
I don't see it either.
Rapid fire.
Is there odds out for this yet?
Probably.
Not a win bet at least. All right, like I said, we're going a little bit more rapid fire. So no, I think Nunes is going to win. I would be very curious to see what the odds are. I bet she's probably at least a slight favorite, Nunes.
Yeah, she'll
in the rematch. What's that?
She'll still be favored, I think.
What's up, Alex? Alex is one of the people that has slept in my air mattress with the cats on him. So he knows what
Shout
I'm
out
talking
to Alex.
Bring wine next time.
Story earlier, so
he didn't leave you wine though.
No wine.
Come on, Alex. Moving on to featherweight next. Another fight that's next weekend. Alexander Volkanovski, Korean Zombie. Obviously, Max Holloway still in the waiting in the featherweight division. Brian Ortega's there. Yair Rodriguez. I think Volkanov. I'll go first this time. I think Volkanovski's arguably the pound for pound best fighter in the UFC right now. I wonder what the pound for pound rankings say right now. Because I think Volkanovski is going to hang on to his belt as much as I wish Korean Zombie could. He's number 3.
Yes.
Who's in front? I'm trying to look at it right now.
Izzy and Kamaru, which I think is appropriate.
That's fair. That's a fair ranking.
I might put him above Izzy. I think it's kind of tough to put Izzy there after he went up in a weight class and lost. But then again, Volkanovski hasn't even tried to go up. So
yeah.
But
I agree.
I agree with Volkanovski.
Yeah.
We're all in agreement there. Alexander Volkanovski. Although I would be happy if Korean Zombie wins because his first, was it a title fight against Jose Aldo the first time? Yeah, way back in the day. And he was looking good, and then he dislocated his shoulder. And then, like, right after that fight, he had to do military service, and he was gone from the UFC for, like, 3 years. So shout out Korean Zombie. One of the only guys to pull off a twister in the UFC.
Yes.
Lightweight. The long-awaited lightweight, Reed. This is where you might have a hot take on this. So Charles Oliveira is fighting Justin Gaethje at UFC 274. You're thinking McGregor, maybe?
I don't think it's going to be Oliveira. So I have a few, like, again, I'll say Conor, I guess, just for like for the opinion out there, but I think Oliveira could lose to Justin Gaethje. I think there's a lot of guys in the mix at lightweight, so I could see this kind of going all over the place. But I'll say Conor. I think that he still gets to cut everyone in line, right? Whenever he wants to fight, he gets to go to the top. Dustin now, he just had his title fight. He's now in this thing with Covington, so he's kind of out of it. Maybe Gaethje wins and fights Conor. Maybe Charles wins and then fights Conor. I don't know. It just seems like this is setting up for a Conor just kind of gets to cut everyone, and he's like, he talks enough trash that he gets the title fight.
Well, I'm going to go out and say I think Justin beats Charles, and then I think they set up Dustin McGregor again. I'm sorry, Dustin and Gaethje again for the last card of the year, and then I think Poirier gets it finally.
Okay. I like that. So you agree with me, though, the initial take that Charles is bound to lose it at some point along the way.
Yeah.
It seems like he's kind of not running out of gas. It just feels like his title reign is kind of run its course already.
My prediction, now we might run out of time before the end of the year for this fight to happen, but Islam Makhachev. I think he's going to be the champion. It's just how many fights do they need to give him another fight or two before he gets a title shot? I think if he fights for the title next, he wins. So that will be my prediction. I'll go a little different than you two. I'll go Islam Makhachev.
Okay.
Nice. I like it.
Moving up to welterweight, Kamaru Usman. He does not have a fight schedule, so this one might be a little bit more wide open. Are there whispers of who he's going to fight? Gilbert Burns is fighting Chimaev. Is it going to be the winner of that fight that takes on Usman?
I still think it's going to be Colby. I think it's going to be Colby and Kamaru. Kamaru's open to it. Obviously, Colby. Again? I think so. Yeah, and I hate to say it, but I think Colby's going to get it this time. I think Colby's the kind of guy who's going to make just enough adjustments, and I think Kamaru might feel like he's done it twice. He doesn't need, he's not going to need to focus on it as much. And I think that might be his downfall.
We'll see. I could see Colby doing it. I think Colby, he's been close. I think Chimaev, if he looks good against Gilbert Burns next week, he's going to be probably jump in front to get the title shot. So maybe him. I stuck with Kamaru, though. I think he's just that much better than everyone. He's just a cut above.
I'll go off the board again. I'll go Cam. How do you pronounce his first name? Kamzat?
Kamzat, yeah.
Kamzat Chimaev. I think
I agree. I think he gets the next title.
Jumps up the rankings, fights Usman at the end of the year and wins the belt.
I think if he dominates Gilbert Burns, which I think Gilbert Burns is getting a really bad rap here. He's like a plus 600 underdog at this point. I think he's getting
really.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
What?
Yeah, I'm not saying he's gonna win. I'm not saying Chimaev isn't amazing.
No, those odds are insane, though.
Yeah. So let me pull those up, but you can move to the next one. But I'm just saying, I think that Gilbert Burns again a really bad rap. This guy was in a title fight a year ago.
He's plus 415 at WinBet right now.
415. Sorry, you know what I'm saying? Like big underdog though. Still absurd. Yeah. So ridiculous. I think he's getting a bad rap. But if Chimaev does roll through him like he's expected to do, then it's tough to say he can't get the next title shot.
Agreed. Moving up to middleweight, we got 3 weight classes left, and then we'll wrap this up. We've already gone too long. I do have a radio spot in 15 minutes, so we got to wrap this up pretty quick. Middleweight, Israel Adesanya. I don't think he has a fight booked yet. I still think Whitaker beat him in the last fight. So I'm kind of sour on Adesanya right now.
Is he fighting Cannonier?
I don't think he has anything booked.
Oh, okay. I like Izzy though.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna say safe bet would be Izzy. Yeah.
Just who beats him?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not like Whitaker's gonna fight him again. He's got to wait.
Yeah, I think that weight class is Adesanya and Whitaker, and then a large gap in everyone else. So unless they book Whitaker again for a third time, it's probably gonna be Adesanya. If they book it a third time, I'll go Whitaker because I think he won the last fight.
I think
you go into this one with even more confidence.
No, I can't remember, but I feel like he is.
What's that?
I feel like Whitaker is booked for a fight. I could be wrong.
I can look it up while we move to light heavyweight.
Yeah, let's go to light heavyweight.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think he does, but maybe he does. Okay. Yeah, look it up while I move to light heavyweight. Glover Teixeira against
Teixeira.
No, I want to hear you.
Yuri Prochazka.
That's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
So
that's at UFC 275, by the way.
First of all, Whitaker is fighting at UFC 275. Quick turnaround for the Aussie. He's Marvin Vettori. That's what I thought. Yes. So he's not. I mean, maybe he wins there and they fight again at the end of the year. I don't see it. But in this fight, though, the light heavyweight championship, Yuri Prochazka, close, good.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll just call him Yuri.
He's favored over Glover Teixeira in this fight. He's around a minus 180 favorite, give or take. a few cents. Glover Teixeira around plus 140 underdog. Glover's thrived in this like underdog role before in this whole run up to the title, but this Yuri guy is captivating. He is vicious. That knockout over Dominic Reyes last year, I believe it was last summer, was insane. I kind of lean with Yuri being the light heavyweight champ because I think that this is his only fight of the year.
I'm going with Glover.
I'm not confident though.
I'm going with Glover.
I may end up betting Glover in this fight even, but I will right now say Yuri because I do really like him.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Yuri like pulls something out. I think it's going to be a really good fight. I think it's very close, but yes. I just have, like, my heart is telling me Glover.
I'll go off the board once again to be different from you two. I think Yuri does win this fight, but then before the end of the year, he fights Magomed Ankalaev and loses. Okay,
interesting. Is he next up, you think, Amy?
Yeah, he's pretty close up there. I mean, he's if I'm thinking of
he just beat Thiago Santos, and I think Thiago Santos is kind of a pre-title fight kind of guy to fight.
Yeah, he called out he wants the winner. I kind of prefer, I don't know. Yeah.
Does Blachowicz get another chance or no?
Not right away.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think.
So there's my guess. Magomed Ankalaev, light heavyweight champ by the end of the year.
All right, we got 3 different ones there. Okay.
I love it. Last, but certainly not least, and this is a weird weight class to talk about because who knows what's going to go here with belts and interms. The heavyweight division, the baddest man on the planet, Francis Ngannou, is obviously the champion right now. He's out with an injury, but also there's contract disputes. He wants to get paid more money. The UFC doesn't want to pay more money. Who knows? He might even be healthy. He might be healthy, and they still book an interim belt like last time. So let's assume Ngannou's not going to fight again by the end of the year because of his injury. So let's say who's gonna be the interim champ, or maybe you think Ngannou's going to fight again.
I actually think this is going to be a vacant title at the end of the year. I think what's going to happen is they're going to I guess they would have to strip him, but he's going to not be a UFC fighter anymore. They're going to have no champion. They're going to probably have something scheduled, but it won't happen until the very beginning of the year. Because I think they're going to try and drag this on as long as they can to make it look like he's refusing to fight. I think that's going to be the storyline. And then I think we'll have a vacant heavyweight.
So your prediction for the heavyweight champion at the end of 2022 is literally no champion.
Yep.
It's a bold take, and I like it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not going to be Ngannou, which I feel like we're kind of almost like he's disqualified from being the champ in this case, because I don't think he's going to fight again this year. If they do vacate it, I think it's going to be Cyril Gane, because to me it seems like he's going to face either Curtis Blades, who just knocked out Chris Daukaus last week, or John Jones. And I think Gane beats them, and then that sets up another Ngannou fight. But then Ngannou wins that one. So I guess for the sake of this argument, I'll go with Cyril
Gane. You're forgetting about someone who I think is the obvious choice here.
You're going to go Derek Lewis. No, Taiju Ivasa?
No.
Stipe
Miocic.
Oh.
Arguably the greatest heavyweight to ever live. Arguably.
Yeah. Arguably.
What's the path?
Does he have a fight booked right now? I don't know that off the top.
I don't know.
No, because there's rumors he might fight Curtis Blades, and the two used to train together a little bit. But I think they're going to do an interim belt. I don't know if they're going to strip Ngannou right away, but UFC loves interim belts, so I think he's going to be the interim champ. I maybe Ngannou gets cut and they just make it the full championship, maybe not. But if I'm just talking interim champ, if Ngannou's still in the picture, I think they're going to do Stipe against Gane or Stipe against Blades. Probably not Blades. So it's probably Stipe against Gane.
And you think
Gane, and I think it's going to be for the interim title. Gane can beat guys who are heavy-footed because he can just dance around them and pick their shots. But Stipe Miocic is not heavy-footed. Stipe Miocic can dance with Gane a little bit, and he can hit harder than Gane. And he has the experience. Probably the most experienced UFC heavyweight right now, former champ. He got slept by the best Francis Ngannou we've ever seen, which any other human being on the planet would. So I'm not taking off points for that fight. So I'll go Stipe Miocic as the interim champ at the end of the year.
It's a fair call.
This is
All right.
exciting. Now I want to wait. I want to like flash forward. I want to like do that TikTok trend where it's like, let's get to the good part, and then it's like, boom. And then we're at the end. We can see
The
who's
New
won.
Year's Eve episode of this will be very good. We'll look back at all our predictions.
Yes.
Yeah. Our 2022 recap. We'll go back and look through all our predictions. So there you go. That is this week's show. That was a very long one. Hello, Zane, chiming in right at the end here. And we're gonna talk to you next week because we're gonna break down. Yeah, Daisy's coming to say hi. There at the little end.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, rest up, guys. We got a big pay-per-view card, multiple title fights, potential
any final
champion
words,
according
Daisy?
to some.
No, sorry, I'm distracted by the cat. I love that.
Daisy has no final words. Yeah, huge card next week. We're gonna do a draft. I don't think we have a guest booked yet. Hopefully, we get a guest. For my sakes, because I need to win a draft. I kind of hope we don't have a draft guest, so it's gonna be a little bit easier for me to win. One less person to worry about. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe to the YouTube, like it, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll talk to you next week. UFC 272 next week or 3?
No, 273.
273 next week. It's all blending in together.
Right.
UFC, it's 273. UFC 273 next week. We'll talk to you then.
Bye.